Hello everyone, this is Asifa. Today we are going to look at the CUET UG 2023 general test preparation. In the last video we have seen the syllabus and the strategy for the same. This is important because many central universities are asking for general test for their courses, and JNU also asks for general test and English language test. So for general test, in the last video I had discussed with you, there are three categories which we can put the syllabus into. The first is the quantitative reasoning and numerical ability. The second is the logical reasoning and general mental ability. And the third is the general knowledge and current affairs. So for these things, the exam pattern is such that you need to answer 60 questions out of 75 questions which are available to you, and within a time frame of 1 hour, which means that one question and 1 minute, and also there is negative marking. So you need to practice a lot of questions as much as possible. I have looked through the books that are available online, and I have got these three books as a set, which will cover all the three categories that I had talked to you in the last video. So this is from Oswald Books. So this is first one is for the quantitative aptitude, which will cover the first category, both QR and NA, and second category is logical reasoning and general mental ability, and the third is general awareness. So what is special about these books that I liked is that it has the previous year question papers which are solved here. Okay, in different shifts, the questions that were asked in general test, shift 1, shift 2, shift 3, whatever it is. So it has the previous year question papers from which I have taken certain questions and I have solved, and from this only I am going to discuss with you. And I liked also that it has very nicely done mind maps, and also it has the revision notes with the important formulae that you're going to use in your topics. So there is a QR code also if you need to know more about this particular formulae, and then there are practice questions under each topic chapter wise. So what we are going to do today is discuss this topic's important formulae. So in the next video we'll solve a few questions from this topic which are previously asked. All right, so how do we go about this is, firstly I need to know the formula, because without formula there is no use of you sitting there, because there are going to be 4 questions asked. 3 to 4 questions going to be asked under this topic, which is speed, time and distance. So under this also there are going to be, how do you identify? It will be based upon the trains or boats, or simply a person who is traveling at the speed and this distance. You will be able to easily recognize these questions. So how to solve these questions? You need to do the basic formula, which is distance is equal to speed into time. Okay, so this is the basic formula that you need to remember to solve these kinds of questions. So here you see the distance, speed, time, they're all directly proportional, which means that if you're taking if your speed is high, then the distance travel is going to be high if the time is also high. And the next is speed is equal to distance by time. This is derived from this basic formula, which means that if you're going at high speed, then you will cover the same distance at lesser time. Okay, so that means that speed and time are inversely proportional, and vice versa. If you do this, time is equal to distance by speed. Again, if you are taking a long amount of time, which means that your speed is going to be less to cover the same distance. Okay, so the basic formula that you need to remember is simply this: distance is equal to speed into time. And the next thing I'm going to refer to you in this video is the unit conversion. Unit conversion, again you have different kinds of unit conversion, but the shortcut method that will help you more is how to convert kilometer per hour to meters per second. Okay, so now remember this, you can use mnemonics also. Key means kilometer to meter, kilometer per hour to meter per second. The important thing for you to do is you have to multiply into 5 by 18. So whatever number that you have under, suppose you have 5 kilometer per hour or 18 kilometer per hour is speed of something, then how to convert this to meters per second? You have to multiply into 5 by 18. Then you will get an answer like 5 meters per second. because you're cancelling out 18. The important thing for you is, if you want to convert kilometer per hour to meters per second, you have to multiply the speed into 5 by 18. Remember this, 5 by 18. If you want to do the reverse, if you want to convert meters per second to kilometers per hour, then you have to multiply by 18 by 5, just the inverse of the one we have already discussed. Okay, so this comes from simplification of the basic things like you already know. What is 1 kilometer? 1 kilometer is equal to 1000 meter. Remember this also, but the most important thing is kilometer per hour to meters per second. And here 1 hour. 1 hour equal to 60 minutes, which equal to 60 into 60 seconds. That is, in 1 hour there are 3600 seconds. So this is not, mostly what you have to do is you have to answer the questions in the either kilometer per hour format or meters per second format. This is a basic thing that you have to have at the back of the mind. But the important thing is that you have to multiply 5 by 18 and 18 by 5 wherever it is appropriate. So this is important for you. Please remember this, note down this. Okay. What to do next? Next is, like I told you, what kind of questions are asked. It is train based questions or board based questions. So here also there is particular shortcut that we have for train based questions. Let's go with the train based questions that I have marked here. So the questions are asked such as that there is a platform. Okay, there is a platform and there is a train coming in. Okay, now the train, the length of the train is L, or you can L1, and the length of the platform is L2. Let's assume. So the question that is asked is, what is the total distance traveled by the train when the train crosses the platform? So what is the total distance? So the total distance here will be L1 plus L2. Why? Because it is not simply the train's first part or the first compartment which moves through the platform. The entire train, all the compartments move from the first point of the platform to the last point. Only when the last compartment leaves the last point, it means the entire train has crossed the platform. So the train has traveled its own distance and also the distance of the platform. So that is why total distance traveled by a train when it is crossing a platform is that of L1 plus L2. Alright. So this is something that you need to remember regarding train questions. And the next thing regarding train questions is, suppose that there are two trains. Okay. Two trains. So if the two trains are moving in the same direction, train 1 and train 2 are moving in the same direction, then what is the relative speed of the two trains? Remember that these are the type of questions which are asked, which have been asked. So that's why I'm pointing out this formulae. So if the train 1 speed is x kilometer per hour and train 2 speed is y kilometer per hour, what is the relative speed of the trains if they're moving in the same direction? So here, then the relative speed is x minus y kilometer per hour. So speed of one train minus the speed of other train. Okay, so which will give you the relative speed. So now certain questions are asked, what happens if they are moving in the opposite direction? They are going to cross each other, right? So if the trains are moving in the opposite direction, what is the relative speed? So then what happens is, relative speed is, you have to add the speed of both the trains plus. Okay, remember this, it is going to be asked, it has been asked. Please remember relative speed when they are traveling in the opposite directions. Two trains are traveling in the opposite directions. What is the relative speed? Then the relative speed is that addition of the speed of two trains. Alright. So remember this for train questions. Now we go to the boat and stream questions. Hope you have noted down. Alright, otherwise you can pause the video and check it. Now, these are the questions which people find a little bit difficult, but if you know the formulae and solve a lot of questions, you will be able to practice them easily. Okay, so now boat and stream question is that, so there is a river. Okay, and when this river is moving, it is called as stream. The moving water in the river is called as stream. Now what happens is, the speed of the water is called the speed of the stream. So anyway, in the river, this water is moving, so it is called the speed of the stream. And then there is a boat on the river. Okay, there is a boat on the river. Now there is the speed of the boat and there is the speed of the stream. So let's call this speed of the boat and speed of the stream. Now, what kind of questions are asked? So if the boat is moving in the river, what is the speed of the boat in the river if the boat is moving in the same direction or in the opposite direction? But what are the words used? Here comes the confusion. Okay, the confusion is the words used are as upstream and downstream. So what does upstream mean? What does downstream mean? You need to remember this. Okay, upstream means the boat is moving against the stream. Against, or let's use the same word that we use for the trains, and the word is opposite. Okay, that means that the boat is going the opposite direction of the river. Alright, so that is called as upstream. So questions are asked like the boat is moving upstream, the boat is moving downstream. So you need to understand what does it mean, what direction the boat is moving in. Okay, so you need to understand, mark it down. Upstream means opposite. Okay, U-O. Alright, it is up to you, you can keep any kind of mnemonics. U-O. And what is downstream? The boat is moving along with the river. Along with the river, which means same direction. Same direction that the river is moving, the boat is also moving. Okay, which means that D, yes, remember DS. So U, O and DS. You owe something to me. Alright, so you owe. Upstream is the river and the boat are in the opposite direction, and downstream is the river and the boat are in the same direction. Hope you understood. So remember these words because this is how the questions are going to be asked, and don't get confused. So now you understood what is upstream, what is downstream. Now what you do is how to calculate the speed of the boat upstream and downstream. Like we have already done for trains. If they are moving in the same direction, what is the relative speed? If they are doing in the opposite direction, what is the relative speed? We know that already. So now what is the speed of the boat when it is going? Speed of the boat when it is going which way? Upstream. Upstream means opposite. We know that U-O, opposite. So how do you calculate that? Upstream speed. Upstream speed of the boat is simply speed of the boat minus speed of the stream. See, we have noted that this is the speed of the boat, SB, and speed of the stream is SS. We have already noted it down. Okay. So now, because we know that the boat is moving in the opposite direction, what is the upstream speed of the boat? What is the upstream speed of the boat? If they are asking, you have to subtract the speeds of the boat and the stream. So now you remember in train question, when the trains are moving in the opposite direction, we add. In train, what did we do? We did x plus y kilometer per hour. Remember? Right? We did x plus y kilometer per hour. But here, we have to do subtraction. So this is the opposite. If you remember, if you connect things like this, it will be easy for you. If you remember one thing, you will remember the other thing. So first remember the trains, which is easier. So remember the trains, and when you remember the boat, you know that if it is in opposite direction, then you have to subtract. Okay. Now this is the upstream speed of the boat. So next question that is asked is downstream speed of the boat. That is the boat is moving in the same direction like that of the river. What is the downstream speed of the boat? Then the simple thing that you do is you add. Okay, what you do is you add SB plus SS, just the opposites. So you have to remember for the train question, if there are two trains moving in opposite direction, then you add the speeds. Here in the boat question, if the boat and the river are going in the opposite direction, you subtract. Okay, if you know these things, then you know if they are in the same direction, then in the train question you will be subtracting for same direction. But in the boat question, for the same direction, what what we'll do, you will add, because now I have done downstream. Downstream means same direction. DS, right? DS, that's what we have discussed. UO and DS. So same direction for the boat, you have to add. Same direction for two trains, what you have to do, you have to subtract. So note it down and revise as much as possible so that you can go forward and solve questions under this topic, because there are going to be at least 3 to 4 questions in your exam. So this is where I end the video. In the next video, we will look at the questions that are previous year questions. We will solve them. We will solve a few questions under each topic. Please go to my previous video also and you will get a hang of things. Alright. If you have any doubts, please put in the comment section. We will also do an English language video very soon. Thank you.